All right, ready for a deep dive? Today, we're looking at Oleksandr Usyk, the Ukrainian boxer who's not just winning, but kind of changing how we see heavyweight boxing.
And he's got this story, this whole vibe you just don't find in many fighters.
No kidding. So we're going beyond that headline. He's got his Wikipedia page pulled up. Going to use that to unpack what makes Usyk so compelling. In the ring, out of the ring, the whole package.
Because there's a lot more to him than the wins, impressive as those are, right?
Okay, so picture this. Simferopol, Crimea, 1987. Not exactly your typical boxing origin story, right? Usyk doesn't even start boxing till he's 15. Before that, it's all football, which...
It's unheard of, basically. Most of these guys, they're practically born with gloves on. To reach Usyk's level starting that late, that's pure talent and a work ethic that's almost scary, you know?
And he explodes onto the amateur scene. 335 wins to 15 losses. That's his record. Olympic gold in 2012, World Championship gold in 2011. This guy was a force of nature from day one. But it's not just winning. It's how he's already moving through weight classes, even back then. Like, he's always searching for that next level, that bigger challenge.
And that right there, that's Usyk in a nutshell. He's not wired for good enough. He's got this drive to be the absolute best no matter what's in front of him, and you really see that ambition explode when he goes pro.
Right. So 2013, he's conquered the amateurs. Most fighters would take it easy, build up some wins. Not Usyk. He jumps straight into the deep end of the cruiserweight division. And what does he do?
Dominates. It's nuts. By his fifth pro fight, he's the WBO Intercontinental Champ. Fifth fight. That's unheard of, even in boxing. Like he was shot from a cannon or something.
You see that record, it's hard not to be impressed. 5 fights. But then you watch him fight, and it clicks. It's not just power, it's that boxing IQ.
Yep.
He's not brawling, he's playing chess in there.
100%. Usyk, he wins with his mind. He outthinks you, breaks you down before you even know what's happening. That footwork, that jab, it's all part of this bigger strategy.
Yeah, and you hear other fighters talk about facing him. It's almost like they're in awe, like trying to catch smoke. That's what they say. But this whole strategic dominance, it really comes to a head with the World Boxing Super Series in 2018.
Right, because now we're talking the Champions League of boxing. The very best, all fighting for that undisputed title, elite level.
And Usyk, he just breezes through it, doesn't he? Marco Huck, Maris Briedis. Tough fights, but he makes them look easy. Then the final against Murad Gassiev, another undefeated champ.
Masterclass, that fight. Usyk, he just outclassed Gassiev completely. Controlled the entire fight from the first bell. Unanimous decision. And with that win,
Undisputed cruiserweight champion. But here's the kicker. He's the first in the 4-belt era to hold all the titles in his division. We're talking a whole different level of dominance. It's insane. But then the question becomes, what do you do when you've conquered a whole division?
you'd think, maybe relax a little. Defend those titles, enjoy the win. But that's not Usyk.
He decides to switch it up completely. 2019, he sets his sights on heavyweight. And I remember everyone's wondering, can he hang with these guys? Can a cruiserweight, even one as dominant as Usyk, handle true heavyweight power?
Huge gamble. It's not just the weight, it's a whole different ball game up there. Punches hit harder, the strategy changes, it's a whole other level. A lot of people thought he was crazy or brave, maybe both.
But that's Usyk, right? Never backs down from a challenge. He beats Chaz Witherspoon in his heavyweight debut. Okay, not a huge name, but a win's a win. Then comes Derek Chisora. Tough veteran, known for taking a punch and just wearing you down.
That Chisora fight, that was the real test. Usyk couldn't just dance around, he had to stand and bang. And he proved he could take it, keep coming. Unanimous decision, but a slugfest, for sure.
And that sets up one of the most anticipated fights in recent memory. Usyk versus Anthony Joshua. Multiple belts on the line, the technician against the knockout artist. What were you thinking going into that one?
Total clash of styles. Joshua with the power, the size, the home crowd. But Usyk, he's got that way of dissecting opponents, finding weaknesses nobody else sees. Nobody knew what was going to happen.
September 25th, 2021. Glued to my seat, I know you were too. And Usyk, he puts on a clinic. Neutralizes Joshua's power, controls the pace, just outboxes him completely. Unanimous decision, new unified heavyweight champ.
Textbook boxing. Made Joshua, who's no slouch, look ordinary. That was a statement. Usyk wasn't there to play games, he was there to take over.
But Joshua, he wasn't done. Triggers the rematch clause. And suddenly, there's this whole new pressure on Usyk. He's fighting for more than himself now. He's fighting for a nation at war, a nation looking for hope.
And let's not forget the backdrop of all this. The war in Ukraine. Usyk's own family displaced, his country under attack. He's carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders.
August 20th, 2022, the rematch. Usyk, he comes back even stronger, even more determined. Adapted his game plan, learned from the first fight. Joshua put up a good fight. But Usyk takes the split decision. Proves it wasn't a fluke. He is the best heavyweight in the world. But then there's this whole other side to him, this deep spirituality.
Right. Usyk's Orthodox Christian faith, it's a huge part of who he is. You see it in everything he does, and it makes you think, how does someone with that kind of faith find peace in such a violent sport?
And that leads into another fascinating part of his story, his Ukrainian identity. Born in Crimea, he's navigating some seriously complex geopolitics, especially with the war going on.
He could just avoid it, stick to sports. But he doesn't. He embraces being Ukrainian, speaks out against the war. And when asked about Crimea, he says, it belongs to God. What a statement. Is he avoiding taking sides? Or is it deeper than that? Like those earthly disputes don't matter as much as something bigger.
Open to interpretation. But it speaks to the kind of person he is, deep, complex. But even with all that, he still has to fight, prove himself against the best. And at that point, there's one name on everyone's mind. Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King. Undefeated lineal champion, the one title Usyk doesn't have, the one guy who might actually be a challenge.
Everyone wanted that fight. Usyk undisputed in a lot of people's eyes, but still with something to prove. Fury, the last piece of the puzzle for Usyk to truly be on top of the heavyweight world. The hype man, battle for boxing immortality, that's what they were calling it.
And you had to wonder, with everything else going on in Usyk's life, how does he even prepare for that level of pressure?
It's mental toughness, no doubt.
Yeah.
To block it all out, the expectations, everything, and just focus. Incredible. May 18th, 2024. Riyadh. The place was electric. Two guys at the top of their game, destiny on the line.
When you think back to that night, what sticks out? Was it that technical chess match everyone expected?
You know, those first few rounds, it did feel like Fury's size, that reach might be too much. He was keeping Usyk back, that jab was working, and you got the sense that Usyk was struggling to get going.
Yeah, there were a couple moments where you thought, maybe Usyk's finally met his match.
Yeah, it was interesting.
But then that ninth round...
Oh, man. Like a flip switched. Usyk comes out with this intensity, this pressure we hadn't seen before, unloads on Fury, and suddenly Fury's hurt, back against the ropes, and you see it on his face. Surprise, maybe a little fear.
Turning point for sure. First time Fury's looked human in his career, you know. Never been knocked down. And even though he stayed up, you could tell Usyk got to him. In his head, even.
And Usyk, he smells blood now. Just keeps coming wave after wave. Like he can sense the finish line. He's dragging Fury with him. But that's the thing about Fury, right? He can take it, weathers the storm, comes back swinging, survives the ninth, and we're going the distance. Brutal. Just a battle of wills. And in the end, judges' scorecards.
Split decision. Usyk's hand raised, undisputed, again, historic. Just shows you what he's made of. That spirit, the strategy, the pure will to win.
He did it. Beat the odds, silenced everyone who doubted him. One of the greats, no question. But even celebrating, you got the feeling it wasn't over. Fury never wanted to back down. He wants that rematch.
And you can't blame him. Fight lived up to the hype. Everyone wants more. And for Usyk, well, that rematch is a chance to really cement it, you know? Prove it wasn't a fluke, that he's here to stay.
So where do we go from here? December 21st, 2024 rematch.
Yeah.
Back in Saudi Arabia for this one. What's your gut say? Usyk does it again, or does Fury find a way?
Impossible to know.
Yeah?
That's the beauty of it, right? The drama, the unknowns. One thing's for sure. The whole world will be watching. And no matter what, win or lose, Oleksandr Usyk, his story's not done. He's resilience, he's faith, he's proof that you can overcome anything. Powerful message no matter who you are.
No doubt about it. And on that note, we'll leave you with that image. Oleksandr Usyk, the fighter, the man, the champion. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, folks. It's been a good one.